Okay, so we'll discuss today not much about technology. By the way, it was a great presentation. So we learned everything about eIDAS and what's going on in Europe and cross-border stuff, so we are okay. Today we'll discuss about how identity can stimulate people to use digital services. How we can increase financial inclusion starting with digital identity. Because any process, when you talk about digital financial services, it starts with an identity. If you don't have a digital identity, you cannot get digital financial service. So one of the topics will be how we can help a lot of people still using branch offices of the banks and using the regular passports or ID cards, and how we can increase the financial inclusion, because, okay, we are in Europe, but still we have countries, and Romania is on top, having the most underbanked or unbanked population. And on the panel, and I'll let them introduce 10 seconds each, we have different companies, different countries, different technologies, and I will start from the last one, Adrian, to introduce himself. So what is Namirial doing in terms of digital identity? And TSP, you are a TSP, first of all, right?
We are a TSP. Okay, so hi everybody, my name is Adrian Dinculescu. I'm the managing director of Namirial Romania, not yet the CEO of Namirial Group, just to clear things up. And I'm doing this part as managing director in the weekend. During the week, I'm the sales and service director for Namirial. A little bit, Namirial has several entities. Namirial Romania is in charge of South Central Eastern Europe, so I can provide some feedback regarding this region. In terms of products, since you asked about this, we have onboarding, signing platform, trust services, archiving, electronic archiving, and certified communication.
So you are a one-stop shop for everything about
we could be a one-stop shop.
Identity and signature.
We could be a one-stop shop, yeah. But
all right.
So Namirial in general is everything started from the TSP side. So we are issuing qualified certificates, and we do this in the entire European Union. And since it's an obligation to do identification when you issue the qualified certificate, of course we have to be aware of what's happening with regards to the identification part of the issuing of the certificates, and that's why we got involved into this nice concept of the European Union Digital Identity Wallet, in the potential consortium, and
excellent. Thank you very much.
Sure.
So, Wouter, you come from Belgium, right? So
exactly.
How is going itsme? Because it's pretty, straightforward. You are already in some 14 countries already.
Yeah.
So what itsme is doing?
Exactly. Maybe in a nutshell. So I'm responsible for working with our strategic partners internationally. itsme is already in the market for almost 10 years, and I think, as Valentina nicely explained, we're actually one of the front runners of what people now call a digital identity wallet, doing basically everything that a digital identity wallet is supposed to do in the way that actually Europe prescribes it. So it means KYC, onboarding, confirmation services, authentication on payments, digital signature, everything. I think big difference is that we do that from an actual wallet, reusable wallet concept, which means that it's a one-time activation basically, and then you as a company, government, sort of can make an interaction as fluent as a couple seconds and not having to re-identify your citizen each and every time. Just to give a quick idea about us being active across Europe, soon Romania actually. Now more than 7 million people actually using itsme on a daily basis for everything that I mentioned before. So we're quite proud about really itsme being part of everyday life for already so many people across a wide range of sectors, be it government, be it public, banking to babysitting apps, really.
Excellent, then thank you, Wouter. So you already told us for 15 minutes or more what Evrotrust is doing. But just let me, because I have to say, you started, Evrotrust is a Bulgarian company.
Yes, Evrotrust is a trust unit, also is a trust unit company, and also digital wallet services. And we are present in the east part of the Europe and also in the Romania. Actually, our biggest advantage is that we are not doing the identity verification, we are doing identity attestation, meaning that we attestate that identity is a real one.
Excellent. Wow, it's different then. So, so many technologies. Now we go to Pixel. So Pixel comes from Switzerland, right?
Thank you for having me here. Yes, Pixel Vision is the market leader in identity proofing in Switzerland. My name is Dan. I consider myself a European citizen, and I pay taxes in Switzerland, even though I'm born in Romania. With the Pixel, we do the identity verification in different ways. I won't insist on that, but I think the vision is to bring trust to the digital identities, because we discussed a lot about trust with the help of AI. We discussed a lot about AI. And in general, to bring trust in this digital world where content is more and more, and you don't know what's reality and what's not reality.
Thank you very much. Now I have some questions for you, and I prepared the questions using ChatGPT. For like a week, I trained ChatGPT. I'm paying for it, by the way. And I also pay taxes here in Romania. And I will go to Namirial because, Adrian, I know Italy is pretty advanced, right? Someone from another company coming from Italy, not sure is present here, told me there are 35 million digital identities in Italy. Is that true?
That's correct. Italy is a success story with regards to digital identities. Now, to not confuse digital identities with wallets. Okay,
yeah, that will be the next question. So let's talk,
right. So if we talk strictly about digital identity, there are two things that should be discussed. On one side is the digital identity in terms of speed, for example, the electronic identity schema from Italy, where 91% of the population is using it for accessing different online services in relation with companies and with the government, and there were big incentives to make use of this identity schema, so that's why it's a success story. And then there is CIE, which is the electronic identity card, which is also used by a lot of the population, and with the combination of the two, you're covering basically 100% of the population in Italy that can make use of identities in a digital way, let's put it like that.
That's a success indeed, because if I ask Wouter, he will say, yeah, almost all Belgians use itsme. If I ask Evrotrust in Bulgaria, how many? I'll come back to you.
Just to clarify, SPID is owned by the government. It's ran by private companies, but it's not an electronic identity schema of private companies. Right. So that's why there were incentives from the government side to make use of this identity schema. Of course, it has its downsides because under eIDAS 2.0, there is an obligation for level of assurance high. Okay, let's call it level of assurance because there is still a debate regarding the terms. And SPID is not. It's still level of assurance substantial, which means that it should evolve or it should be changed. We're seeing there are different initiatives there. So it's a success story, but in the context of eIDAS 2.0, it needs to have some changes in order to
okay, let's go to this question. So what do you expect? What's the impact on your business or the other guy's business when eIDAS will be in place? What's the, how much will change everything? Because, you know, there was a panel earlier about technology drives, and I couldn't have the chance to ask, but my question was, what if we build, I mean, the banks build technologies the users refuse to use? There is a resistance. So imagine a bank invests like $1 million or 2 million or 10 million in a technology and the users don't use it. How soon do you have a contingency plan? So now I wonder, coming eIDAS, what happens with eIDAS 2? What will be the change? Because you are involved yet. I heard you many times saying that. But
there's so many changes, but I can give you some examples of some threats, for example, to trust service
providers.
Better
examples than just define what eIDAS 2 is.
No, I don't. I was not planning to do that anyhow. So, for example, free certificates in the wallet. Okay, it's an obligation. How it will be done is not clear. Who will provide those free certificates? But people, once wallets will be adopted, should have access to a qualified certificate for personal use. Has an impact on the current TSPs. And we're talking about I think, if I'm not mistaken, 250 TSPs on EU level. So it will have an impact on all of them.
Yeah. So it's kind of known unknown. It was a guy called Rumsfeld who used that. But this is good or bad? Because we always tried, all of us here, to improve, to change, to adapt, to be fast. So, Wouter, you started 2017. You already have 80% of population or more. How do you see the impact? Are you already aligned? Because Namirial says, well, we don't know yet.
Yeah, I mean, we very much welcome the new regulation because it's because it wants to boost digital economy, it wants to boost security and people being in control of their data. However, we're today eIDAS compliant. Under the new regulation, we do meet most of the requirements, but there's still some uncertainty around it. And I think there's a bit of two schools. I think people that wrote the legislation have very much written it from a sort of public-to-public perspective, with very strict requirements, and actually conceiving it almost as a one-stop shop, big brother kind of wallet solution that needs to hold the data, store the data, which is maybe not what citizens want, right? I think the philosophy behind this is really accurate and is really good, but I think the way that it will ultimately shape, and that's what we see in the pilots in which also we are active, is that it will be a public-private sort of ecosystem that will need to be shaping. And very much similar to a payments ecosystem, for example, where there's heavy regulation around. It's very important. To government, it's important because it helps to combat fraud, but it's a critical infrastructure. It needs to work across sector, way beyond government, way beyond data that government needs to provide. So it's more logical that private players like us here on the panel play a role in that, together with government, together with banks that do have an important role and many others. So it's really the ecosystem thinking. I think the actual implementation will need to prove itself in the years to come, and that's I think, the work we're doing in pilots to make it actually work.
Yeah. So we are, Romania is part of EU. We are very well known for how much regulations EU, less so about on innovation, but it becomes like a standard in other countries. So we see, I heard someone in Taiwan talking about open banking, but it was a completely different concept for what we see here in Europe. Now we have Switzerland. Switzerland is a very interesting country, right, Dan? They are not part of EU. They care about GDPR. They have a kind of sort of GDPR. Do you have an ADAS too, or similar?
So yes, Switzerland is an interesting island in the middle of Europe that many times follows European regulations. For example, what's ADAS in the European Union, it's CERTES, called quite similar in Switzerland. And now there's an EID, WTO bid, for example, to put the infrastructure for the EID. If you ask me helicopter view, EID is the marketing term, then we have the theoretical part, the regulations, ADAS 2.0, and then we have the practical part with the wallets. And for me, it's quite interesting to see, for us as a company, what's happening in European Union. We have customers in European Union, and we have in Switzerland, and how adapt. For example, NIS 2 came, also Switzerland put in place. GDPR came in European Union, put in place. So for me, it's also a little bit of the, let's say, how the vision will be. My view is that people should choose. For example, they should choose EID, they should choose, bank ID, because we are talking about banks, or biometrics. So they should have this option of having, different.
Now, I understand. So finally, Switzerland is a follower, is not an innovator, and that's good for us in the European community. But I'm staying to Pixel, because you are one of the few saying you use machine learning and AI. What Pixel is doing in this area in terms of easy of use, trust, how AI can help people to use digital wallets? If you can tell me in 20 seconds.
So first of all, we use the technology, the machine learning, AI machine learning, in order to extract and to compare, for example, from a liveness detection, selfie video, and the pictures that are extracted from the documents that we scan. So that's a pure machine learning and an algorithm that you need to train for different documents, for different countries. So there is the technology, but at the end, the technology is solving the customer problem. It's a little bit contextless, and that's a problem, I think, also with the EID. And then the regulation, it depends. Yes, maybe here it's Switzerland a little bit a follower, but Switzerland gives more options, for example, how you can solve the customer problem. And that's a good thing, comparing with too many regulations sometimes in the European Union.
So what you say, you can innovate because you don't have so much regulations coming from Brussels, where Wouter is located. Now, coming to you, because you had a huge presentation, so everybody knows about what you do in Evrotrust, but I want to talk to you because you mentioned many times cross-border.
Yes.
You said, Adrian, there are so many companies doing the same, TSPs a lot of identification companies, but European Union is moving towards a unique market when it's about financial services, but that is also about the wallet. And I just wonder, are we going to have 27 wallets issued by the government? Are we going to have more wallets? Are we going to have one wallet from Bulgaria going to Belgium? So how do you see that from Evrotrust point of view?
Thank you very much. Very good questions for us. Actually, we see like Switzerland like followers. So actually, in this moment, we can see that Evrotrust is something that can be followed in this moment because we have developed a wallet that it is already on the market for like 3 years in this moment. We learn a lot, and actually in this moment, it was launched like last year, and in this moment in Bulgaria, for example, they have like 97 market share, meaning that 97 Bulgarian adopt this wallet and it's working and it's functional. And actually all the banks in Bulgaria accept this wallet as an identity verification solution. Going to eIDAS 2.0, they were quite very smart. Evrotrust are quite very smart in this regard because 3 out of 5 attributes are already certified at the high level of assurance, which is already compliant with eIDAS 2.0. So we can specify in this moment that we are with a step ahead what happens in the other countries.
You are setting very well. You said 97 of Bulgarians use Evrotrust today?
Exactly.
That means how much? It's 10 million countries, like 90 million Bulgarians.
Exactly.
What about diaspora?
We are not prepared to be such a good success story, so actually we are trying to sell something for the Bulgaria and for the other market in the Central Eastern, but in this moment to have a big adoption in Romania, not so much, but in countries like Spain, like Germany, and like France, there are a lot of users that are using Evrotrust in order to authenticate. But our biggest advantage is that we offer our solution as a private scheme. It's available across Europe. So in order to develop like 27 wallets for 27 countries, it is also an option to use an Evrotrust wallet across Europe with the same experience.
Okay, so I'm going to Belgium now. So Wouter, you don't have such a huge diaspora, so Belgians are very happy, just like Swiss people staying in their own country. And you are 10 million, just the size of Bulgaria,
and also
almost
paying
or less.
A lot of taxes.
Yeah, and high taxes. I was a resident for 2 years there, so I know how much I paid. I remember that. Now, a question to you is, because you are for like 4, 5, 7 years already in the market, and I read you already have connected a lot of businesses. So you have companies from banking, because you studied in banking, right? And then you have insurance, you have the state, you have shops, and it's like how many of them are using today, I'm talking about businesses, connected already to itsme?
Yeah, so today about 3,000, so a couple thousand businesses, both public organizations as well as private institutions, and it goes as far as the sectors you mentioned to gaming, insurance, telecom. Each and every one of them, they have questions around smoother onboarding of clients, authentication, stronger confirmation of transactions, digital signature. So virtually any sector, and that's also the whole idea behind a digital identity ecosystem, then it can serve different sectors. And what we see as biggest benefits that it brings is that, one, it helps to digitize customer journeys. Think about, you read a newspaper on a Sunday, you want to invest in an investment fund with a bank you're not banking with yet. In a couple of minutes, you can become a client with that bank, add your wife as a beneficiary, open that investment fund, sign that contract in a couple of minutes, right? That's digitization of journeys that banks, I think, and many companies love, right? Bringing less friction. It translates into bringing better conversion in trajectories overall. If you think about payments, actually surprisingly, we saw, be it account to account, be it card payments, that conversion has actually drastically improved using schemes like ours, like Bank ID in the Nordics, for example, because it brings context, people see the context, and so transactions just happen more smoothly. It reduces fraud, very importantly. I mean, we work with an ecosystem, with public institutions, with banks, very importantly, telecom operators, because each of us all have a role in combating fraud, and we actually saw that fraud reduction was very tangible, with 26%, I think, of actual amounts defrauded that we helped get out of the system. And then I think a last one, importantly, if you think also about government, and I think especially here in Romania, if you think about inclusivity, you mentioned getting people more and easier access to services. We're actually, for example, now in talks with government in how we can digitize voting, right? Maybe allowing for more people, a more representative part of the population to vote, and maybe not only vote on TikTok politicians, right? So.
Yeah. Actually, I remember when I was there, and I tried to pay, and I pay taxes because it's risky business otherwise. I remember it was on the fiscal authority. It was a button called "itsme." So, and there are many other options to connect. So you have your own PIN and chip, now maybe NFC card. You had the European card, you have the bank, the card, the credit card, debit card, and it's me. So it's very interesting, and I want to see that also in other countries like Romania, where in Romania, and we'll come back to Romania, guys, because you should have an interest in the Romanian market, all of you. I want to see more of that on ANAF side. So today, you have a username and password, you have to go to an office, then you have a Zoom video call with someone from ANAF, and then you need a kind of digital qualified certificate, which is pretty expensive. If you want to pay taxes, it's pretty expensive. So you start wrongly. You start with paying taxes. So how do you see that? I mean, what you mentioned once, Wouter, I come back to you and then the others. You said you do the bridge between private and public. How you handle it in like 1 minute, because I want to let the other guys. How you do that?
I think one is...
What's the success story behind it? Because
I'll give you two examples. One, we help government service to be more accessible, providing easier access to a tax payment system, for example. Two, we also help to unlock data credentials from government data vaults or wallets or whatever they call it, to the wider ecosystem, because they issue driver's license, they issue identity cards, etc. And we make that relevant when, for example, you want to rent a car, right? You want to share your driver's license, your identity card, and pay in one go. And so that's how we try also to make government services accessible, but also public credentials available to the wider ecosystem.
So, Adrian, because Italy is such a success, and you are successful here in Romania, I know you for many years now. So how Namirial is helping Romanian state, Adrian, ROE ID, how you can see that? How you see your company in this, on this stage?
Right. Just going a little bit to the basics. The digital identity wallet is supposed to help on different areas. Now, there was a digital observatory in Milan in November, like a huge event where the European Commission was presented. Paulo De Rosa said, for example, the vision of the European Commission, where the wallet should be used for digital identity, data sharing, and payments. These were the three main pillars where the wallet should be used. This is the vision. Now, the wallet itself, we have here companies that provide their own wallet. It's a matter of trust. Right now, there are about 149 wallets across the EU. Out of these, I think 31 are issued by the government, 4 by a partnership between the government and the private sector, and the rest are from the private sector. there is a tendency, and there are different currents of opinion, that banks should provide the wallet to the markets. Why? Because they have all the data and so on. Now, in Germany, there is some companies tend to think that public entities, even local ones, should provide the wallet. But Romania, going to Romania,
come back home.
It's not clear who will provide the wallet. Right now, we don't have a concept of a wallet. At least I don't see the concept of a wallet at government level. We have a ROI ID, which is an identity schema. As I said, it has its shortcomings, and it's not yet level of assurance high. It's implemented, it's live, it doesn't have a huge adoption. We'll see what happens with it. But it will be a means of identifying users into a wallet. Who will develop the wallet? This is yet to be seen. Who will issue the credentials in the wallet? It's yet to be decided. Will it be public entities? Will it be a qualified electronic attestation of attributes provider? This is also.
So you think we'll have one wallet here, just one wallet? Because
I don't know. This is not something that Namirial, Evrotrust.
No, but it's just your vision, because you see that.
I think there will be multiple wallets. I think there will be multiple wallets available, because this is even where the EU is going. So there will be multiple wallets. The customers can choose the wallet that they prefer, the ones that they feel more comfortable with. Each of the wallets will communicate with each other. There will be all the attributes in the wallet. I think it will be a wallet. Now, let's deal with the identification. Well, when will the electronic identity card be?
Yeah, we heard it yesterday. You missed.
We had Mr. Dinculescu here who said.
Have you been yesterday? You have been yesterday.
Yesterday.
So you learned from Mr. Dinculescu.
He said by middle of the year, right? By the middle of next year.
No, he said at the end of this year we'll have some wallets for us to test. Pixel, Evrotrust.
But it's an important aspect, because you know why? It's the only identity schema in Romania right now that can achieve level of assurance high.
Evrotrust.
Yes.
The Romanian government provided one. That's what I'm saying. So because the ROI ID is not high. So if we have ADAS 2.0 implemented, of course there's many steps to be handled. It will be CIE that will have to.
Yeah, we always say if we don't have a digitalized state, we cannot have digitalized financial services. I have 2 minutes left because they cut me 5. So Evrotrust, how do you see working with ROI ID? I know you are fully compliant. I know you have everything in your pocket. But like Adrian said, it's not clear. What's your vision?
Yeah, true, it's not clear, but nothing is clear. So we have to be innovative, and also have to go to the institutions, the governmental institution, to communicate what happens in the industry, because we are experts here. And I think that also me and Adrian, when the norms for ADR was issued, both me and Adrian were there, were trying to go to the ADR, telling that the video identification, it's not anymore requested. So in this moment across Europe, the fully automated solutions can be very easily adopted, and it is very, very secure. And it was a success story, because they have adopted, and the new legislation, the old legislation at the moment, accept the full automatic identification. So that's what we are trying to do in this moment. We do believe in the possibility for the end user to choose. So we don't want to impose one wallet. We want to let the public institution to create a flow in order to give the other providers the possibility to be there, and the end user, the Romanian citizen, to choose the best solutions for them.
So if we let people choose, if we let banks choose or state choose, it will take another 50 years, I think.
That's true. That's true. But actually, we are democratic. We have to.
Yeah, we have elections. I know. We'll see on Sunday. Now, Pixel. So, do you see?
I only want to say something also, because actually, in this moment, the biggest challenge for the providers is that they have to be certified at the high level of assurance. And here is the challenge for the providers to provide a wallet that is easier to be implemented, but also to be in fully compliant with the legislation.
Yes, but. I need another 1 minute, please. Listening to the anthropologist earlier and to David Birch, even in the morning, I think that bankers and their customers, they don't really care about those acronyms, standards, certification, assurance, and stuff. So how important is, and coming back to Pixel, because you have AI, how we make sure that everything, when it's about, times is up, I know, when it's about people interaction, because we talk about 460 million plus Switzerland, how important is the technology from a customer perspective, from the people using the wallet or the process of digital identification?
I think wallet is one option, and we have different segments of population in different countries with different level of digitalization. For this reason, I really believe that people should have these options which best fit for them under international or European schema. But from this perspective, I think the young generation, they are digital. 7 seconds is maximum the time span and so on. You have also older people, so you need all these different channels, and the banks, they don't care so much, maybe, from this perspective. And I think the banks, it's like, I don't know, Spotify. Until the records house entered in the business, you don't have to push away the banks, you need to bring them on board and to see the benefits of different channels. And I think conversation still remains, maybe less for some people, more for some other people.
Okay, so we always think that identity or conversation with banks starts with digital, with identity. It doesn't matter if it is digital or not. We still have companies like Czech, the Savings Bank of Romania, with 1,000 branches, and you go to a branch, show your ID, and you have a bank account. I want to see one day, PSD3, for example, I want to see Romanian using wallets, because, you know, the bankers here, we have the fastest internet, we have so many banks in Romania providing a lot of good services, but still we have unbanked, underbanked. And I think that the only way to catch up is digital identity, is the digital wallet, right, Adrian?
Just one last comment, just to some things to think about. Italy is one of the good examples in Europe, but they do not fulfill all the criteria for eIDAS 2.0. And there was an assessment made, and it was said that the electronic identity card, CIE, it has a gap of about 4 or 5 years in terms of adoption to reach the levels of adoption, current levels of adoption under eIDAS 2.0. So this means that if they start now, they will still need 4 or 5 years to get a high number of users. We didn't even start in Romania. So let's...
So we have a chance, because lagging behind sometimes is a good stuff, right?
Hopefully.
So we look at what Italy is doing wrong, and we'll do our best to be better, right? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Get digital.
Thank you.